Hello.
And welcome to Film Bastards.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to episode 545. It is a numeric palindrome of Film Bastards. My name is Ian Loring, and as always, I'm joined by
Matt Foster. Hello, everybody.
Hello, one and all. Bex will be along later. I asked to shift the day of the recording because England are in the semi-final, but unfortunately, I could have probably done with recording tomorrow because this is going to be maybe a shorter one than usual because I've got to log back on to my work laptop and do more work tonight. So, yay. But anyway, so it might be a little bit of a all-over-the-place show, but what have we got? We have got reviews of Ty West and Mia Goth's finale to their trilogy, probably. We'll see. MaXXXine. And also, we'll talk a little bit Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. That was it for group reviews, wasn't it?
It was indeed, yeah.
Cool. We'll also talk some trailers and what we've been up to. We are a Pod Syndicate podcast, so please do listen to like-minded shows such as Chinstroker vs. Punter, The Rewatch Project, Entertainment Landfill, and others. And there we are. Minute and a half in. Less than a minute and a half in, and away we go. So, what trailers do we want to talk about?
Well, I mean, it was only like 6 days ago we last recorded, so there's not been that many that have come out, have there? But there's been a couple of biggies, haven't there?
Yes. Yeah.
There's been a couple of those smooth big hitters that we love.
Indeed. But have there been any not big hitters?
Not that I have watched, no. I will say, not as much a trailer, like a new trailer watch thing, but when we were watching MaXXXine in the cinema yesterday, the trailer for Twisters came on.
Oh yeah,
and it was a fairly, I would say that me and Bex were the oldest people there for MaXXXine. So it was a younger audience, and like literally the entire place went fucking silent. And then after the trailer finished, you could just hear one guy turn around to his, what I assume was his partner, and just go, "That looks fucking ace." It kind of warmed my soul a little bit. I just thought, nice.
Yeah, nice. I feel like Twisters is going to do something, and it's a shame that Deadpool and Wolverine is literally the week after. Like, it feels like it's actually going to hit.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't think it needs to. It doesn't seem like the sort of film that needs to make like a fucking $1 billion to be a hit. It just needs to be all right.
And I mean, like the initial reactions seem to be, you know, the story's okay enough, but it's like the action is where it is, and that's what you want, really, isn't it? So
yeah, it's the reaction I've seen to it is if you're coming to Twisters for like a really deep and meaningful allegory about the climate and things like that, just don't. It's just a disaster film with some action and adventure in it. There you go. And I think that's kind of what I'm there for. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, looking forward to it. Next week. Good stuff.
God, it is, yeah.
Next week as we record, like, the show you hear next week will be this week.
Yes.
As such. But, yes, anyway. Yeah, so there's two big ones. I don't know which one you want to do first.
Can we do, because you put out a special reaction podcast to F1.
Yes.
And yeah, it's my worry started with F1 when they changed its name to F1, because that just feels a little bit really. And then when the trailer started, I was like, "All right, I'm game for this." And then that song came on, and I went again, "Really?" And it's just, I think I put in our group chat that it felt that trailer felt like a promo for Sky's coverage of F1 that just happened to have a couple of recognisable movie stars in it.
It's really, really weird that that's what they chose to put out there.
Yeah.
Starting with quite a nerdy bit of dialogue about how other teams can do a top speed, so we need to think about cornering ability. And I will say, the F1 Reddits, some of them or Redditors, some of them not happy about the fact that Brad Pitt's like, who cares about it being safe, when, you know, there's been quite a few deaths in F1 and the junior series, and like quite relatively recently. So, you know, that's got some people in a tizzy. So I thought that was an odd start. Just like at the start with the Warner Brothers logo and the Apple logo, where he's just like, Red Bull, McLaren, Aston Martin, blah, blah. It's like, wow, that's how you're starting this. Just naming a bunch of F1 teams that, let's be honest, 95% of the audience won't really have that much affinity with. You know, because F1's big, but it's relatively niche. Like, yes, it's got its own channel on Sky Sports, but most of the time, the radio commentary is punted to 5 Live Extra because something bigger's on.
Yeah, it has a very passionate fan base, is what I would say.
So, yes. And I've watched the trailer maybe 7 or 8 times at this point. So I'm starting to come round on it, where I'm like, I would like to see it on an IMAX screen. I would like to see the in-car stuff on an IMAX screen, because I bet that's fucking thrilling. And sorry, just to say, like, Brad Pitt and Damon Idris, who plays his teammate in this, I don't know who he is, but yeah, they are racing modified F2 cars made to look like F1 cars. You know, so you're gonna get the whole Tom Cruise in the cockpit stuff that you got with Maverick. And I think that, big and loud, could be something. But this trailer is a bit... That's fucking shonkily put together. Why is everything so low in the mix?
Yeah, that's it. I think you mentioned it before. You want kind of... What I expected was a bit more of the guttural gurring and of the engines, and instead I got Queen.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It's just... It was the nobody in the meeting where they went, right, we need a track that's going to really just fucking get it going, and someone just went, how about Queen? There was nobody there that just went, fuck off.
It made me laugh. So there's this guy who works for Sky Sports F1, Ted Kravitz, who reports from the pit lane, and he does these notebooks, he calls them, which is like after the race coverage and the qualifying coverage, he just wanders around the F1 paddock and kind of talks to people and talks through what just happened. And it's live as well. And he was talking, and someone, because they were doing a bunch of the filming there this weekend, like someone from like the film's marketing team came up to him and was just like, what do you think of the trailer? And he just basically spent a minute saying why F1's a stupid title.
It is. Don't calling it F1 means that the poster has to be the F1 branding, which then just makes it look like an advert for F1, but it's a film about fun. It's so... It is massive small dick energy marketing.
Yeah,
it really is, because it's like, well, we don't have the confidence that we can grab, that we can make these people know what this is, so we're just gonna call it F1. Could you imagine if they went Rocky, we're just gonna call it boxing?
It's like you call golf, like a golf film, PGA Tour. There was Wimbledon, to be fair.
Yeah, but that wasn't a fucking $200 million fucking blockbuster movie. Was it a Woody Allen one? Or was his Match Point?
Oh mate, yeah, no, Wimbledon's the Paul Bettany, Kirsten Dunst one.
Kirsten Dunst one, isn't it? And Match Point was the Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers one.
Oh yeah, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, that's right. Yeah. So it
wow, we just fucking showed some serious nerd tennis film knowledge there.
Oh yeah, really did. Look, no, I mean it's a fucking bad title, and I don't know. It is like they don't have confidence. It's just like they like, oh, okay, it's the F1 movie. Maybe that's what they just thought people were going to call it the F1 movie. Why not just call it F1? But Apex
Apex is
is
a
not
great title.
Yeah, I mean it's not one that I don't know. I kind of feel like they could have done something more with it, but it's quite evocative, and it's the name of the team. Like it actually has some narrative sense.
I noticed that and was like, do you know what? It's evocative. It's different. It catches your eye a little bit. But F1 just is a bit. It's now. I am viewing it and going, right. This is almost an F1 propaganda piece now.
But yeah, I mean, but there is a part of me, the absolutely subjective part, that is like I would like to see that. I mean, but it's also going to be interesting. I think I said in the little podcast I did, I don't like it's going to be restrained in ways as well. Like you're not going to get anything like the Gran Turismo Nürburgring crash, like because people, the F1 will not want to see the cars be like put to that level of destruction. I think you'll get spin outs. You'll get someone on fire for some reason, but I don't know. I kind of feel like the visceral nature of it is going to have to be the in-car camera stuff. And I read an interview with Kaczynski where he confirmed that there's about an hour of the film will be in full IMAX, and that's cool.
Yeah. So I have a question about the film. Is it made in conjunction with F1? Are F1 like one of the producers effectively?
I would assume so. Yeah. I mean, it's got the whole cooperation of of everybody. Like they had Brad Pitt standing with the other drivers for the fucking British anthem last year. They had Brad Pitt like literally in the interview pen. You could I can't remember who was being interviewed, but to the right of him, it was Brad Pitt being interviewed, and they were obviously filming fake driver interviews. Like they are fully in there. And so your point about it being a promotional piece for F1, I think is pretty well founded. Even though it does make me laugh that if you remember, there's a shot in it of like a guy with a tash just like looking at the camera. There's like what
from like I assume that's where the guys who is that somebody who works for one of the teams? I'm assuming that's the guys who communicate with the drivers.
Yeah, so that's
him putting his thumb up to the camera. That is my abiding memory of this trailer, and that is a worry.
I can't remember if it's him or not, but there's basically the point is, the person I'm referring to is Gunther Steiner, who until last year was the team principal for Haas and then was booted out at the end of the season. They didn't renew his contract. So you've already got an F1 film that's going to be coming out a year and a half after Gunther Steiner left the sport. And like that's the issue with this film. Apparently quite a lot of the problems they're having at the moment is they filmed a bunch of stuff before the strike, couldn't film anything until after the strike, and by the time F1 was gearing up again, the cars had changed and personnel had left and like things like that. It is going to be 2 years hence from film, like the British Grand Prix filming last year. By the time this fucking thing comes out, that's kind of wild. But at the same time, it is a film made by Apple, filmed for IMAX, about F1, directed by the guy who directed Top Gun Maverick. Essentially, if this is not my fucking Woodstock, my year will be ruined.
The thing is, it still has the potential to be a really good film. I think it's a rush trailer.
Which is bananas, because a lot of that footage was from stuff they shot last year.
It's a very rushed trailer. It's a trailer for a movie that doesn't come out for another year.
But they're shooting at some good tracks, though. There was an in-camera shot of the Belgian Grand Prix, and it was like, yeah, that's going to look real good, fast and loud in an IMAX, man. Like, it is going to be the definition of style over substance, this film. Like,
it seems that way, because story-wise, they seem to be a little bit going for, hey, what if Moneyball was F1? And there's a little bit of it that goes, I don't think that can happen. I don't think you can claim that.
No, but that's the thing. Like, that dialogue at the start is a little bit Moneyball, you know. But you know that's not really going to be what this film is. You know it's not. But hey, man, if I get an hour of full IMAX like F1 and it's loud and whatnot, you know, num, I'm a shit eater, I'll munch it all up.
The thing is, I'm very much in the place of, I really hope I like it, but I'm also in the place of, this isn't for me, and there's plenty of movies out there that are for me, so I'm glad people have got this.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who it's actually for. You know, because it's not like Gran Turismo pulled up many trees.
No, it isn't, but I think you will get F1 fans. There is, like you say, it's not one of the big sports, but it's the biggest motorsport, and F1 are on an absolute fucking publicity fucking rampage at the moment. And this obviously is part of it, and that's not a problem. You know, that I'm not using that as a criticism for it. So it's as much to try and get people interested in F1 as it is to try and make money out of a movie.
And I don't know, maybe there's a part of me that's actually a little bit surprised by that, and, you know, maybe I was being weirdly uncynical, but, you know, you got good people behind it to make a good movie, and the fact that it is called F1 does just seem to kind of state, oh, that's what we're doing. But hey, you know, I'm sure Brad Pitt's getting paid an absolute fucking fortune as well, because my God, is he going to have to... Like, the press tour for this film is going to be bonkers.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. I mean, you know, Lewis Hamilton's a producer on it, not like an exec producer. He's a producer on it with his production company, apparently. I think that's quite interesting. And, you know... F1 does have in real life, has the potential to do cheesy as fuck stories. The British Grand Prix this weekend. You know, Lewis Hamilton, it's his last year with Mercedes. He's been with the team for 12 years. And he wins the British Grand Prix. It's his first win in 52 races, I want to say. Not since December 2021. And he does it in his last year with Mercedes. And with that... He also broke the record for most wins at a single circuit. You know, it's the kind of stuff that if you were, and just the way the race happened, it's the stuff that if you were to write it, you'd go, that's a sports movie. but these are the kinds of things that do happen in F1. And like I've said before, the soap opera aspect of it is something that I vibe with as well. Like the driver market and what's going on with that at the moment is num. That's the thing. If that is the film, it's going to appeal to me, and I'm a bit like, I don't give a fuck if it doesn't appeal to anyone else. I'm a little bit worried it's not going to appeal to anyone else, but we'll see.
I think it's one of those where it's more of a bums on seats than a we want awards.
Oh, mate, yeah. I mean, but also, like, apparently the budget... I mean, they're disputing this, but the reported budget's like $300 million. Like, even if it was 250 million, with the amount of marketing that is going to be done for this film, they are going to have to make an absolute ton. But then Apple is up in there as well. I wonder how much they paid for the rights. Because it's a marketing expense for Apple just to have that kind of a glitzy film on their service.
That's it, yeah. The whole, like I say, you know, I'm not meaning this in a cynical way, but the whole thing is it's a film, and it's good. They've got a good filmmaker, and they've got good people involved. You know, often when essentially corporations or whatever try and make a film to sell their product, they end up fucking it up massively. This, at least they've got good people in it, and this has the potential to be a really good blockbuster. But it is a promotional film for F1.
Yeah. But, you know, I'll probably book the day off work to go watch it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be there fucking first showing in IMAX. Might go to London, watch it on a big IMAX.
The thing is, I will happily watch it on IMAX. I feel like I've been really negative, and I'm not, because I'm actually looking forward to it. As a film, that trailer was shit.
Yeah, it's a bad trailer. Like you said, it feels rushed, even though it really shouldn't be. Like, just I know we said it, I just can't get over how low in the mix the engine noises were.
Yeah.
But, hey, anyway, there we are, F1.
So the other big one, Gladiator 2. What did you think to this one?
It makes me think of that episode of The Simpsons where he's like, I'm paraphrasing, but we need Poochie to be so popular that whenever he's off screen, people should be asking, where's Poochie? But they've done that for Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, Paul Mescal had the fucking presence of a fart in that trailer.
I disagree on that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I disagree on that. I genuinely don't remember seeing Paul Mescal in anything. All I know is that he wears tiny shorts and he's in a TV show that I can never remember the name of. So I don't really know that much about him because I've not watched knowingly that I can remember anything in with him. And so that was me going, oh, this is Paul Mescal. All right, fair enough. Don't get me wrong, he's not got the Russell Crowe presence, but I was a bit like, all right, fair enough. At least he's got fucking jacked for it. Denzel looks like he's having a fucking whale of a time and he's going to be the star of the show. Like the fact that we got a good amount of Fred just being weird Fred in it.
Yep, great.
You know, that guy born for that role. But yeah, I was watching going, this is going to be... I think we're setting ourselves up for a disappointment after Napoleon, but at least it looks like... I mean, it looks like a film. It looks good. It looks fucking bombastic. As with always, it looks like every fucking single penny of the budget Ridley has put on screen. I'm kind of up for Gladiator 2, to be honest. I didn't think I'd be saying that, really.
Good on you. Yeah, I mean, I'm up for it. I just, like... I feel like everybody else is going to be more interesting than Paul Mescal. Like, and you know, I hope I'm wrong because he's going to be the lead character. Kind of intrigued to see what Pedro Pascal's deal is.
Yeah, it seems he's the villain version of Paul Mescal.
Yeah, but then are they going to maybe come together
and team up? Yeah, did you get that feeling?
Yeah, because I mean, like
the
that,
big battle that
fight,
they've got. That's going to be in like the first half of the movie, isn't it?
Yeah. I was thinking like maybe end of second act, and then they get on side with each other or something like that. You know, like it feels like the climax of this film is going to be some real kind of like end of Rome shit.
Yeah, well, it does. It's very much like they're going for the fucking fall of Rome. Which, do you know what? Fucking Ridley Scott fucking makes the fall of Rome film is quite funny. I'm up for it in the sense that I have a up and down relationship with Gladiator, in the sense that I can watch it one time and go, man, this is fucking hard work, and then I can watch it another time and go, this is fucking great.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. But hey, look, like around Thanksgiving, 2.5, 3 hours long. Yeah, I'll eat that up.
Yeah, I mean, that you know that movie's going to be 2.5 hours at least.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. But you want it to be. That's the thing. Yeah. That's the kind of film you want to wallow in.
Yeah, you kind of... If you go watch an epic fucking, like a proper historical epic, and you get there, and it's 106 minutes, you'd be a bit like, I mean, this isn't epic, is it?
Yeah, quite. Exactly.
Yeah, I've had shits that are longer than this.
Nice. Good. Okay, so that was trailers. And let's talk about Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, which is directed by Mark Malloy and stars Eddie Murphy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Taylor Page, Judge Reinhold, John Ashton, and Kevin Bacon. And what's this about? This is about Axel F. What's he up to? Let's find out. Axel Foley returns to Beverly Hills after his daughter's life is threatened and works with old pals John Taggart and Billy Rosewood to uncover a conspiracy. I mean, kinda.
Kinda, yeah. Kinda.
Kinda. I mean, Taggart doesn't really work with him and then does at the end, and Judge Reinhold's not in it much until like 20 minutes before the end. So, Axel F. Obviously, I talked about the first 3 films last week. It's been 30 years, and Mark, what did you think of Netflix's Axel F?
I mean, I was worried. I was looking forward to Beverly Hills Cop Axel F because I just feel like Eddie Murphy over the past few years has actually been all right. He's seemed very sort of switched on. He's seemed very into things. He's seemed quite like he's found a bit of a quiet groove again. He's not quite the force that he was in the 80s, but he definitely seems to have. He doesn't seem to be trying to have a comeback. He just seems to be making movies, but the Netflix thing did worry me a little bit. And then the first kind of like the opening credits to Axel F, I was very much like, all right, no, this doesn't look like a Netflix movie. This looks like a movie, and I'm all right with that. And yeah, just it sits into immediately. It sits into a Beverly Hills Cop groove immediately, like much more so than, for instance, 3. Because I watched all 3 in like 2 days. There's like all 4 in like 2 days. And yet 3 is just not very good and doesn't feel... 3 feels like this might have felt. Whereas this felt just great. I just really enjoyed like the minute it sort of settled straight back in. And Murphy... Like the bit at the ice hockey game, Murphy giving that guy shit about possibly making a racist comment because he might not like hockey, and you know that he's just shitting with him. It's just really good fun. I mean, we'll get more into it, but yeah, it settles you down very nicely to going, oh wait, yeah, alright, this is a Beverly Hills Cop movie, let's fucking go.
Yeah, I think I'll echo that, really. And, I think maybe the close proximity to Beverly Hills Cop 3 helped as well. Because that film really is quite bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And you watch this, and... it is... There is definitely some playing the hits elements to it. Like, that's for sure. But at the same time, I'm also a bit... It's a fucking 4th part of a franchise, and there hasn't been one for 30 years. If they want to play the hits, I'm probably alright with it.
Yeah.
And... I mean, Murphy was on really good form. I maybe would have liked... That energy that he has in like the first third or so, like the whole ice hockey stuff, and when he goes, he kind of bursts into Judge Reinhold's place and is like, "What are you guys taking so long?" And like pretending to act like that was really good. I think like when his daughter becomes more of a part of it, it slows down, And
I would have preferred more Eddie Murphy and Joseph Gordon-Levitt than Eddie Murphy and Taylor Page.
Yeah.
And that's not saying she's bad in it. She's great in it, but it's just, I think it did soften him a little bit from that moment, and it had a bit of an impact on the way that he was like pattering.
Yes, yeah, no, exactly that. But I mean, it looks really good. I mean, God, it's such a fucking weird compliment these days, but it looks like a movie. And you know, Mark Malloy, like I think commercials director, first time film director, stages action scenes well. I thought that helicopter fucking sequence was cracking. That was really fun.
Yeah.
You know, just the fact that JGL was a helicopter pilot, but he crashed his last one, and he's just a bit shit at it now. Like they you know, they mine some good stuff out of that.
They do, yeah, I mean, just the back and forth between them, where we say to him, "I never knew you were bad at it." It's like, I tried to tell you, but yeah. I mean, I had a few like outright fucking laugh out loud, like fucking tears streaming down my eyes bits, which is the sign of a good Beverly Hills Cop movie. And one of them was, "Come on, man, Trent, be cool." when the guy won, fucking go and get Taggart.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He's like, "Trent, go get Taggart." He's like, "Trent, you dare go get Taggart." "Oh, come on, Trent, man, be cool." Fucking killed me for some reason. It's just Murphy occasionally has this way of delivering things that is just, when he's awake in the movie, that is just fucking great. "Did you two have intercourse?" It's just a fucking brilliant line. But then the father and daughter stuff is good as well.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just a bit. That's maybe not what I'm coming to Beverly Hills Cop 4 for.
Yeah, there's definitely an element of that, for sure. I mean, it's fun having John Ashton and Judge Reinhold there.
Yeah, for sure.
Fucking love when Bronson Pinochet turned up.
Yeah.
And when he said, because I didn't know he was in it at the time.
Okay.
Until I saw his name crop up, and then the minute that they said, we said, "Oh, I think I know somebody," I was like, "Oh, fucking hell, here we go. What's he gonna turn up like?" And he just turns up just perfect. I mean, the biggest laugh of the entire fucking thing was that real estate agent that they had in it.
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah,
where I think, what's it she says? You know, it's, you know, children are great, they're such a blessing. Well, not to everybody, you know. I'm having real trouble with my kids, you know, that my kid's a bit of a loser. And they're like, "Oh, that's sad." It's like, I mean, he's only 4, but, you know, you can tell. It's just like fucking, just, it's a great fucking line.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that's it, you know. It's... There's just really... There's good, solid stuff through the film, you know, and I mean, like, even towards the end, like, where maybe the laughs dry up a little bit, you've still got Eddie Murphy basically like getting the police along by just crashing into shit and then like getting them to chase him. You know, that, I mean, that's a good time as well. It's yeah, I mean, it's a shame it didn't come out in cinemas, and I kind of feel like maybe it wouldn't have done that great because it is a sequel to a film from 30 years ago, but he would have washed his face.
Yeah, that's it. I think there's enough kind of love for these, especially the first two movies, that I think it would have been all right. And it is a shame because I think it would have looked good on a big screen. It would have looked nice. It would have been nice to have seen on a big screen. And like you say, it's a little bit of a shame that is a shame there. But then again, I don't think a studio outside of Netflix would have given $150 million to Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Well, yeah, I mean, Paramount gave it up. That was the thing. It wasn't that Netflix bought it off Paramount. Paramount were just like, yeah, we're not going to proceed with this, crack on.
And that's it. And the reason why it hadn't been made... They've been talking about making this movie for, you know, not necessarily this specific movie, but a new Beverly Hills Cop movie for well over a decade now. And you know, Netflix eventually kind of put up the money, and they seem to be quite glad about the reception that it's had, and you know, they've pushed it, they've gone for it, and it's. The shame there is that, like you say, we didn't get to see it in the cinema, but then you've got to palm it off on the other hand and going, but we did get to see it.
Yep.
You know, and there's every chance that we might get a Beverly Hills Cop 5 out of it.
That'd be lovely. That genuinely would. You know, as if Netflix want to continue like paying for things and somehow making money off of them, then I hope that's the kind of stuff that they do.
Yeah, that's it. If Netflix are going to move away from the idea of funding auteur movies and into sort of more like pure entertainment, you know, fucking movies that would, you know, if you went to rent them on a Saturday night, you better get there before 6 o'clock. Movies, otherwise they'd run out of copies. Then fine. That I'm kind of like, I'm all right with that, and I'm all right if it's this rather than, you know, some generic fucking piece of bullshit. This over anything that the Russo brothers are trying to get made. But yeah, it's a good time. It's fun. When Kevin Bacon turns up, you go, well, he's clearly a villain because he's Kevin Bacon, and that's what he does now.
It's not like they try and lead you up the garden path with that either, is it? It's like literally after the first scene with him, it's like how much, you know, he's wearing that fancy Rolex and blah blah blah, and it's like straight away.
Yep. The only bit they try and do is at one point they try and make you think that John Ashton might be also in on it.
Yeah.
But then I was kind of in the back of my mind going, I bet he ain't though.
I mean that's it. That is a little bit like, yeah, but he's not going to do Axel like that. Like, there's just no way that character is going to do that.
And, I mean, good score as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, he very much borrows from Faltermeyer. There's even at the start in the score, there's a bit of Fletch in there. There is, because I listened to it, I was like, hang on a minute, wait, that's Fletch. That's not Beverly Hills Cop. That's Fletch. And I dug that. I really like the score. It's a good looking movie. I'm gonna say it's maybe 10 minutes too long.
Sure.
Which I think is fair enough, but then again, you get to spend some good time with the bit where you've got Eddie Murphy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Judge Reinhold in the thing, and I think Judge Reinhold said something about Eddie Murphy said something about the fact that I'm not going to ask that question. He's had intercourse with my daughter, and Reinhold's just like, this is awkward. And he's a weird guy, he's Judge Reinhold, but I almost like his lackadaisical energy that he constantly brings to stuff.
Yeah, he was in the pocket, man.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I like that. I'm very relieved that it wasn't shit.
Yeah, totally.
And I actually think it's good. It's not just, phew, that's not shit. I think it's a legitimately very entertaining Saturday night action movie with a good amount of fucking Louis Guzman singing.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was good.
It's the way they build it up that they're going into this fucking like hardcore fucking like gangbanger den, and then Louis Guzman's just sat on a big fucking chair singing karaoke.
Should have been more.
There should have been more Guzman there. Yeah. The closing credits should have been Guzman singing like the heat is on, just from that chair.
That would have been really good.
Fucking great. I don't know why that didn't happen, and I hope that if anybody to do with Beverly Hills Cop Axel F who's listening to this podcast just goes, oh shit, why didn't we do that? We had Guzman for an entire day. We could have done that. Yeah, I mean, I'm massive, definitely not shit. I'm so glad it wasn't shit.
Yeah, absolutely same.
Yeah, because it had so much potential for it to just be a misfire and it to just be a nostalgia baiting, you know, fucking DiCaprio meme at the screen, and it isn't even quite that. I will say I watched an interview with Eddie Murphy, and somebody mentioned and said, the guy was in it and said, "Oh, I've watched the movie, I really, really liked it." He's like, "I know we're supposed to say that, but I genuinely did. I was a little bit, there was no Axel laugh, and that kind of, I was a little bit disappointed at that." And Murphy sort of revealed why there's no Axel laugh in it, and he was like, "The reason why there's no Axel laugh in it," he said, "is that was my laugh. That is how I laughed." He said, "And the problem is, I got that popular that whenever anybody wanted to do an Eddie Murphy impression, all they did the laugh. And people pointed and went, 'Yeah, that's Eddie Murphy, that's Eddie Murphy.' And it was just the laugh." He said, "And it bothered me that much that people were that lazy that thought they could do an impression of me by just doing the laugh, that I trained myself out of doing the laugh, and now I just don't laugh like that anymore." And I was like, "That's really quite sad." And the guy who's in it goes, "That's really quite sad." And he's like, "Yeah, I had to change my entire laugh because a bunch of half-assed SNL comedians couldn't be asked to do a proper fucking impression of me." And so he was like, "Oh, so you weren't upset that people do an impression of me?" He's like, "No, I was upset that they were doing a bad impression of me by just doing the laugh." And it was like, he was pissed off at the lack of professionalism. And I was like, fair play, Eddie Murphy. Fair fucking play. But yeah, fucking
nice.
Definitely not shit. Had a great fucking time in that movie. I will say this, I will watch that movie again before the end of this year.
Nice.
I mean, the Beverly Hills Cop is one of my absolute fucking comfort movies.
I could see why. Yes, yeah. Oh man, yeah, what a treat. Yeah, definitely not shit. Very glad.
And our audience poll, definitely not shit, 86%.
Solid.
And shit, 14%. I could see how it might not work for some people. I think if you're not absolutely in the can for these movies, I think it might just not hit.
Nice. Okay. What have you been watching, Mark?
I mean, not too much, because I watched all 3 Beverly Hills Cop movies.
Oh, you did you?
Yeah. I'll quickly do a run through of those, though. So Beverly Hills Cop, which I've spoken about in this podcast before, because I say it's a comfort movie, I watch it quite a lot. I mean, for me, it's a 5-star fucking wall-to-wall banger. It's just, it's a big hug of a movie, and so I apologise for nothing about that. It's just fucking great. Murphy is in just absolute top level form of just fucking, he throws so much at the screen and so much of it lands, but you actually like the character. And I always love the fact that he isn't just a dick to Judge Reinhold and John Ashton. He's a level of dick that he needs to be, but also he very much respects them as being cops and doesn't want to kind of get them in shit.
Yeah.
And I like that. The second one is just Tony Scott just having a big old bunch of toys to play with, and Eddie Murphy, and just going, fuck it. And just turning it up to 11, and it's just glorious. It almost is like the whole film is just a selection of little breathers between these massive set pieces.
Yeah.
And Beverly Hills Cop 3 is shit.
It is just such a come down very quickly.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't think it's because Murphy isn't there. I think it's because it seems like there's some really bad green screening going on. And it's early level green screen, so it's not great. And Landis just doesn't seem like he gives a shit. It's far too the comedy in it just feels really broad. And I think you mentioned it. I completely forgot that the opening bit was a bunch of like mechanic chop shoppers just dancing to Diana Ross. And from that moment you go, I don't feel safe. So, but what else did I watch? I mean, the first two Beverly Hills Cop movies aside, I didn't have a banger week this week. I watched Navy SEALs, the Charlie Sheen, Michael Biehn movie. Have you ever seen this?
What was it again?
Navy SEALs.
No.
So it very much is an attempt to go, hey, remember Top Gun? Yeah, what about Navy SEALs? What if we could do for like what Top Gun did for the Air Force? We could do this for Navy SEALs, and we'll have Charlie Sheen just playing a wild man. He's a wild man. He's wild. Look at him. Look how wild he is. He's crazy. He's wild. And the problem is it's really boring. Like, it's an action movie that's really quite dull. And Charlie Sheen seems like he's in a completely different movie to everybody else in the movie. Yeah. I watched like 3 days ago. I can barely remember anything about it. It seems to try and borrow from a lot of other movies. And go, right, well, we're going to borrow from this. So you remember like that opening scene where in the Deer Hunter where it's at a wedding and you've got all this going on and it's them getting ready to go on. Well, we're going to do that here. But man, everything has to happen too quickly, so it's just going to last, rather than it lasting like the 45 minutes, boring everybody, it's going to last like 7 minutes. Charlie Sheen's wild. And that's it. Charlie Sheen, even to get there, he's going to jump out of a moving car, off a bridge, because he doesn't want to go to this wedding, because he doesn't think that his partner should get married. Do you know why? Because he's wild. And that's kind of it. It just keeps doing that. Constantly. Remind you how wild Charlie Sheen... Do you know how it reminds you how wild Charlie Sheen is? Every so often, for no reason, he starts like just bouncing and going, woo! Every so often. And you go... Yeah, it don't feel like that wild, really. I'm starting to think that Charlie Sheen just, like, he isn't that wild in, like, real life. You know when people try and act wild and you go, I don't think you're as fun a night out as you think you are. Like if they go, he'd be like coked out his brain going, we're going to do something wild, like, fuck. Charlie Sheen's coked out, what we're going to do is go, we're going to nick a traffic code. Like, I don't seem that wild, Charlie. Have you ever gone wild? It was a bit like that. Yeah, just don't watch it. Right. I think you rewatched this in the past couple of years, but I rewatched Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber? It's been a while, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the last time I watched it was just before that really bad sequel that just like doesn't seem to exist, that came out 10 years ago. But I wanted to watch something that was funny. I remember kind of enjoying Dumb and Dumber, so I rewatched Dumb and Dumber. And I accidentally watched the extended cut, and I've never seen the extended cut. And I find it quite weird that what they did for the extended cut is they just put a lot of homophobia into it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what they did, is they went, right, well, here's this movie about these idiots who are idiots and are kind of, they're not that offensive with it. They're just fucking idiots. And the offensive bits they do is because they're dumb. It's called Dumb and Dumber. And then they've gone, we're going to release an extended cut because you liked these funny bits, didn't you? Yeah. So we're gonna put some more funny bits in it. Oh, like just like gags and gaffs. No, fucking just homophobia. That's funny. Is it? Is it? Every scene that I didn't remember, because I watched this a lot when I was younger because I had it on video. If you had a video, you watched that video a lot. So I basically remember the film almost beat for beat. So when a beat happens that I go, hang on a minute, this is I don't remember this. It stands out. And it was like, yep, there's just some homophobia here. Yeah. I kind of wish I hadn't rewatched Dumb and Dumber, because I kind of had a fond memory of Dumb and Dumber, and now it's kind of just dumb and really, I'm not going back and going look at it. I don't like the revisiting movies and kind of reappraising them years later, because I don't think that kind of makes sense. And this is a 30-year-old movie. But yeah, I kind of wish that I hadn't watched the extended cut, and I would probably have enjoyed it more. But yeah, there was I don't know why they decided to just put homophobia into it.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it was a real shame. Weird fucking choice, man. Yeah. But that's it for what else I've watched this week.
Okay, alright. Oh, man, that's a downer.
Yeah, it was... every new scene that came on, I was like going, right, please don't. Oh, there we go. There we go. He's literally just called Harry a homo.
Fuck. Yeah, just a few for me this week. So watched Howl's Moving Castle. Neither Donna nor Lots had seen it before. It's an interesting one, that, it was the follow-up to Spirited Away, and I remember it kind of being met maybe a little bit apathetically at the time, and yeah, it's got imagination for days, but also it does just feel like a bunch of episodes stitched together, and then I kind of thought it slightly petered out in the third act, to be honest. I mean, it was interesting seeing Lottie discover some sort of love for anime boys. That was interesting. But yeah, I like Howl's Moving Castle. It's no My Name is Totoro. It's no My Spirited Away. My Spirited Away. It's no Spirited Away. It's no Ponyo. I think it's...
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think if I was to put it into like the Ghibli, it would be mid-level Ghibli for me.
Yeah, I think so too. What else do you do on a Saturday morning but watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 4K?
Was it Atmos as well?
Yeah. So yeah, Texas Chainsaw. I bought the 4K a while back and I finally watched it. I mean, it looks really good. It looks like a film print, and it sounds like there's an Atmos mix of it, along with the one channel mono. So wild audio options there.
That is some audio whiplash if you could just turn your Atmos off on and off, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it really is as well. I tried it a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. And yeah, look, it's Texas Chainsaw. It's grim, very effective. Franklin is one of the world's most annoying characters, and it's great when he gets chainsawed.
Yes.
And the thing is, the really dark comedy of 2, there are moments in this as well. When Leatherface kills the guy with the glasses, it's like he's running around and keeps on kind of like putting his head in his hands, like, oh my god, there's just too many people. I'm really anxious. Like, what do I do? Like, and he sits down and just has a think for a second.
Yeah, it wasn't until you mentioned that I was like, he fucking does, doesn't he?
Like, it's great. It is just like, oh, poor Leatherface. And then like when the dad in the family has taken Sally. And then Leatherface is just like dressed up in like a wig and has got lipstick on. It's just like going, woo! And it is just oddly funny. And the bit towards the end where they're like, "Oh, Grandpa, he was a great killer. You watch now. It's not going to hurt one bit. One tap and you'll be gone." And it's just like what is apparently like a young guy just in a bunch of makeup, just picking up this hammer and just going, and just basically like throwing it on the floor, and then everyone going, "Oh, Grandpa, come on, you can do it." There just are these moments where it is like, this is actually kind of funny. And again, just Sally like run into the petrol station, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, no, we'll get someone," and he just kind of like wanders out, and he just comes back in with a sack and starts preparing the sack, and she's just like, "What are you doing?" And he's just like, "No, I don't want any trouble," and he's basically just get in the sack. And there's some really horrifying stuff in it, but also there is stuff where it is like, is Toby Hooper actually trying to maybe make you chuckle a little bit?
I reckon he probably was trying to
especially
just like add a bit of levity to it.
When you look at part 2, like I can't help but think he definitely was, but I don't know. Maybe I was just in an odd mood on Saturday morning. I don't know. But yeah, there you go, Texas Chainsaw. And then on Sunday morning, I
watch cannibal movies.
I watched the 1999 Arnold Schwarzenegger film End of Days.
Max loves that movie.
Do you know what? I hadn't seen it since like I maybe rented the DVD back in the day. And, it's pretty shonky. Like, there's a lot of shit in it that really doesn't make any sense. Like, it just like, I swear, if the Satan-loving crowds maybe just jogged instead of walked at Schwarzenegger and Robin Tunney, Satan would have won. They didn't make a lot of effort. But do you know what? I think this is all right. It's grim, but in an entertaining way. Fantastic bit where Gabriel Byrne punches Udo Kier through the head, which rules.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger's on this kind of like, I don't give a fuck. I mean, there's a brilliant bit where he's making what looks to be some sort of shake early on, but then chucks in leftover Chinese and some pizza that's on his floor. And he's teamed up with Kevin Pollak through like the first half of the film, but they've got good banter together. But it does earn its 18 at the same time. Gabriel Byrne, good Satan.
Gabriel Byrne is a good Satan, actually.
Yeah. He's doing some decent work there, and like I say, it looks like a movie, which always helps these days. And yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not an absolute banger, but it's pretty entertaining. I was engaged throughout, but it is very silly and has some pretty ropey CG in spots.
Yeah, it does. That was 99, the one that's just that. It was that point where everything was switching to bad CG rather than good technical effects.
Yes, exactly. Some good fire in this, though, because it was like really... There's some shit CG fire, but there's also some good... Yeah, they set that guy on fire, didn't they? Like, that's a good burning stunt, man.
Yeah, that's what they used to do. They used to set people on fire rather than going, "Hey, Jerry, fucking run around, we'll put some shit fire on you later."
Yeah, exactly. End of Days, decent. Right. Should we get into MaXXXine?
We'll get into MaXXXine. Bex's message saying that traffic's shit anywhere.
Damn it. Okay, alright, so MaXXXine is directed by Ty West and stars Mia Goth, Elizabeth Debicki, Simon Prast. It's doing appearance order here, so that's really messing me up. Giancarlo Esposito, Moses Sumney, Halsey, Kevin Bacon, Sophie Thatcher, Michelle Monaghan, Bobby Cannavale. Weirdly stacked cast. Like, bizarrely stacked cast. And what's it about? So, in 1980s Hollywood, adult film star and aspiring actress Maxine Minx finally gets her big break. But as a mysterious killer stalks the starlets of Hollywood, a trail of blood threatens to reveal her sinister past. Mark, what do you make of Maxine?
Extremely my jam, to be honest. I really dug MaXXXine. I think for me, it's my favourite of these movies, of this trilogy that they've done. I think Ty West he's really good at just kind of grabbing a mood of a movie. I remember House of the Devil had that kind of vibe where, you know, he's inhabiting like an era of horror movie filmmaking, and he does it really well to the point of where you're almost going, hey Robert, this is what you think you're good at and you're not. He's got a real eye for that. You know, there's some great needle drops in it, but they don't feel egregious, they just happen, and they're really good. Within that, the only thing I would say is it's possibly got a too overly stacked cast, that at points it feels a little bit like somebody will arrive and it's like, that's blah, and then you know they're only in it for that one scene. And you don't know, that feels a little bit like, do you remember when Robert Altman used to do those like series films where you'd have like 700 different fucking noticeable names in it, but one of them might have one line and one of them might be stood in the background somewhere. Basically shortcuts. But we'll get more into it, but it's got a real... The story in it is a lot smaller than I imagined it would be, and I kind of dug that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really liked it until I didn't like it as much. Basically, everything up until the reveal of the killer, I was very, very vibing with. Very. I then think that basically the reveal of what's going on, I was just a bit, really? So, you know, all spoilers all the time. Just the fact that it's like, right, so it's just a Christian dad and he's going to make a real life exorcism film to get the demon out of his daughter. Great. I don't know.
See,
I was
saying
pretty let down
exactly the
by
same
that.
thing as you're saying there.
Yeah.
Bex was the same. I was kind of like, I kind of dug that it was just like a real kind of like lo-fi ending. But Bex thinks exactly the same thing, and that is one of the big criticisms I'm seeing of it. So I can absolutely see why that is a criticism people have as well.
Yeah, and I think it's just, you know, the dad's not really on screen at all until that moment. You know, you've had quite a cast of characters, and it's just like, and this guy is him. And then what it then has to say, I just thought was it got kind of weirdly overblown, but not in the way I wanted it to. Like, okay, so now we've got this whole cult. They're filming this film. So what were they trying to do with the other women? Were they trying to exorcise them? And Lily Collins, she's just a horror actress. Why is she getting fucking like branded with this stuff? That seems a bit unfair. Like it felt weirdly sloppy.
It did that because I don't think they get across the fact that he's not actually the Night Stalker. He's just using the Night Stalker's thing, and that was a bit like. So hang on a minute, that ain't even right. More could have been made of that.
So hang on, no, but Halsey and Lily Collins, who were they killed by? They were killed by those people, weren't they?
Yeah, they were killed by them. Yeah, the whole thing was to try and get. They were killing people that were around her to try to draw her to it, but pretending it was a Night Stalker, which then just doesn't kind of. It's another layer that I don't think it needed.
But then, yeah, no, it didn't, and then. Surely the blackmail's enough. Or it should be enough. Why does he then, like, also start killing people? Like, the whole, here is this thing, you were part of the Texas porn star massacre, as the good headline.
Yeah, which is a good headline, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. But, you know, you were part of that, come to this address, surely that should be enough. And just the whole... dressed in the black with the gloves. And I get it, it's Giallo, I get it. Yeah, absolutely. But I do wonder what anyone who is not familiar with 80s De Palma and Giallo films would make of this.
That is it. If you are not steeped in into that, then I don't think you're gonna the De Palma-ness of it as well, especially. I keep seeing a lot of it's a Giallo, and I was like, it's more De Palma than it is Giallo. But it's De Palma when he tries to do Giallo. It's even got a fucking Frankie Goes to Hollywood song in a club.
Yeah. Yeah, but then at the same time, I'm kind of talking about the stuff I didn't like. Kevin Bacon is ace.
Yep.
Absolutely understands the vibe. One of my scenes of the year is probably going to be Kevin Bacon in... Actually, two involving Kevin Bacon. First off, where he's following MaXXXine.
And she puts the keys in her hand.
She puts the keys in her hand, and he's just like, he's playing all like Billy Big Bollocks, like kind of like threatening her, but in a jokey way. And then she just comes in and stabs.
It's fucking great how she just fucking, because you see her put the keys in her hand and you think, oh no wait, she's just gonna start hitting him. That's great.
yeah. You know, you've got that, and then you've got him in the car. And, like, just like, I thought, like, what, are they going to try and get information out of him? No, they are just going to kill him. And then Giancarlo Esposito's just like, you get gone, we'll clear this up. Oh, thanks. That's what agents are for. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, if it had... I don't know, if it had that kind of tone a little bit more, I think I would have liked. Honestly, that third act is just such a sad trombone for me.
The thing is, I can see why it is, because every bit that I'm remembering that is great comes in the first two acts. I almost think that the thing is, if you've got a big old stacked cast of noticeable names and kind of not even like just character actory people, because I wouldn't say that Bobby Cannavale or Michelle Monaghan are particularly character actors, and neither's Elizabeth Debicki. I think you could throw like, you know, Kevin Bacon, I think, is a character actor that everybody knows who he is, and same as Giancarlo Esposito there. But the fact that when it's a dad, I was almost going, alright, who the fuck's this going to be then? And it's like, oh, it's an Australian theatre actor. Oh.
Yeah, there's that as well.
If that had been somebody... And I know that's a really reductive thing to say, and it wouldn't follow the groove of the vibe that it's going for, with it being a very big 85 throwback. But I don't know. A bit of me was almost going, you've built up the fact that this is fucking St. Elmo's Fire is in it a lot. Is it going to be fucking, like, Emilio Estevez or fucking Rob Lowe or somebody like that? And that would have been kind of fucking cool. But it was just a little bit... I think that maybe added to the air out of the balloonness of it for people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But, I mean, at the same time, Mia Goth, brilliant. Like, properly committed performance. That whole kind of, like, I will not lead a life I don't... What was it? I will not lead a life I don't deserve.
I do not deserve, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. That's good, and I like the way she repeats that. That's good shit. And, you know, you're a fucking star, looking in the mirror and whatnot.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Debicki, I liked her. I liked how cold and detached she was. Kind of felt like a red herring that would have been a more interesting killer than almost like what you actually got, to an extent. You know, Kevin Bacon, as I said, I really liked. You know, it's... Lily Collins, I thought, was fun. You know, she only really gets a couple of scenes, but I thought she was all right.
My only issue with Lily Collins is I turned around to Bex after her scene that she had bit and just sort of said, tell me that you tell me you've never been to North Yorkshire without telling me you've never been to North Yorkshire.
Oh, yeah.
Because the accent, it was like that's just not anywhere near. I've lived in North Yorkshire my entire life, and I've never met anyone that sounds like that. That's a very South Yorkshire accent.
Sure, no, I mean, sure.
So real mild, what is it? But she's fun, she's spiky, and I get it. I get that, but again, it's just you throwing out all these recognisable names, then big reveal. Who's that guy?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, I kind of thought it was going to be like MaXXXine killing her way to the top or something. Like that. I just thought this film was going to be more interesting than it actually turned out to be in the end.
Do you think that there's an element of that is that they've left it open to make another?
Oh, yeah, maybe, but
maybe I think this is enough. I don't think we need another one.
No, by the time you've got the end credits, I don't know how long you guys stayed for, but there's a bit where it pans over the Hollywood sign, but now it says MaXXXine.
Yeah.
And then it basically goes off into space. And it is a bit like, what are we doing? Like, what? There was an air with stuff like that just made it feel maybe a little bit smug, which has been a criticism that I had of Ty West films like 15 years ago. And it, I don't know, and again, like the cast, it's a really starry cast. Like, where did that come from? It feels like Pearl was such, not necessarily X, but Pearl was such a, wow, that kind of came out of nowhere. That's an absolute banger. That it has managed to attract people. And now we've got this, which is really a very good film until it's not.
I think he's a really popular character. I think within like that, not quite Hollywood scene, but within that kind of scene, he seems to be. People clearly like working with him, because if you look back over the people that have worked with him within his films that he's made, people, he gets decent people work with him, and it's maybe the fact that, I can't imagine that, with the exception of Mia Goth and maybe Kevin Bacon, that anybody was on set for longer than 3 or 4 days. But the stuff around the sound stages, and her running through different kind of like movies, different sort of movie sets, and the score not overly changing to different movie sets that she's running around. So much in the West, it's got a more of a West feel to it. And then when she's running through like an 80s street, it then goes back to being that. I dug that. Seems to be a lot of movies recently that have been about making movies.
Yeah, I wonder if that's informed by the industry maybe being worried post-COVID about where it was going to be, and whether people are trying to, like, hey, the movies, look at them, and that's interesting. I don't know, you watch this, and then, like, the trailer for Longlegs, which, again, like, that trailer on a big screen in the dark is, like, really fucking unnerving. And, it's a good couple of weeks for horror, and I hope that the more disappointed that I'm in one is in MaXXXine. Because it's a 4 out of 5. It's definitely not shit. It just, for like an hour there, it's in banger territory.
Yeah, even for somebody who wasn't as bothered by the final act, I can absolutely see why people were bothered by it. And the more I think about it, the more I do think that there is an element of air coming out of the balloon with it, and it doesn't have the fire of like the opening bit, or even the bravado and the swagger of the opening bit. I mean, the opening credits are fucking great.
They're great.
And again, it's not, Ty West isn't just doing like nostalgia porn. It isn't, like, oh, look at that, and look at that, and look at that. He's just going... It's a movie of, look, I'm going to give you a vibe of the 80s. I'm not going to give you everyone's in fucking Jordans and everyone's got a Walkman and all of this. I'm just going to give you a vibe. And it absolutely captures that vibe. And the credit, the actual physical credits themselves are just fucking... He's bang on the money. And it seems to be a guy that's in his groove. But there's an element of, I think, of... Ty West has a ceiling of how good he is. And it's very good. It's not holy fuck. Very good. I think these are around about the better films he's going to make. I don't think he's going to make a genre-defining, fucking movie.
Yeah, sure.
But
I think that's fair.
I think that he will make, really fucking good, genre movies that seem to grab a bit of a zeitgeist.
Yeah, fair.
And I think that's that's pretty cool. It means it's emphatically definitely not shit, and I fucking loved it. Mia Goth is absolutely fully in. Real performance. I felt it when she stamped on the man's balls.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah. Bex literally turned around to the cinema and went, "Wow, okay, that I felt that in my balls." It's like, that was that. That was a throat one. That one, I felt that in my throat. But yeah, I very much dig the vibe of it. I do have a sneaking suspicion that in a couple of years' time we're gonna get another one of these movies. Probably set in the 90s when she's fucking on the decline at the other side of it, and maybe having to go back into porn because what is it? And I'm going. Actually, I kind of watched that.
Yeah, I like it. You want the established MaXXXine threatened, and how does she deal with that? Probably by killing people. That's fine. I would watch that.
Yeah, but I just get the feeling that it was left open-ended to give us a new one. Yeah. Our audience poll, definitely not shit 100%.
Fair play.
I mean, fucking go on then. Yeah. I'm like you said, very fair play with it on that. Questions?
Yeah, questions. Let's go.
One from Dylan Black Lanterns. Have you seen this one?
No, not yet.
Invent a film concept along with cast and title for the ultimate marketing film.
Oh, God. Okay, so Pauly Shore. Fucking, oh, God, Dash Mihawk.
Yeah, fucking Dash have to be there.
Title. The Lemonade Boys.
I'd watch that.
It's about Pauly Shore and Dash Mihawk, in adult bodies, but with the brains of 5-year-olds who have competing lemonade stand. They have competing lemonade stands, and getting in their way. They also have a love interest they're fighting over, who is played by the woman from Weird Science, but now.
Oh man, what's her name? Kelly LeBrock.
Kelly LeBrock?
Yeah. Right, I'm going to have to have a look to see what Kelly LeBrock looks like now. Kelly LeBrock. Yeah, perfectly fine now. Yeah, still looks quite hot, to be honest.
Okay, there we are.
Yeah.
There you go. The Lemonade Boys.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I would watch the shit out of that. Yeah. I'm actually just a little bit upset that doesn't exist. If I'm honest. I've just checked to see if Bex is anywhere near close, but I don't think she is. Still think she's about sort of 10-15 minutes away.
Okay.
But you'll get Bex's thoughts on MaXXXine next week, and also I'll keep that question hanging over for next week because I think that... Oh,
nice.
Hang on a minute. I think she might literally be just arriving now, actually.
Oh, okay.
So before that, just what are we covering next week, Ian?
So we will be covering Long Legs.
God, is that out this week?
Yep.
Wow. Fair enough.
Yep. So Long Legs, In a Violent Nature.
Yep.
Give that a go. Maybe Fly Me to the Moon if we can be asked.
Yeah, if we can be asked, yeah. If we can get to it.
Yeah, nice.
Fucking Long Legs, fair enough. For some reason, I thought that was like a couple of weeks, but it isn't. It literally is this weekend. That's pretty fucking cool. We're kind of fillering for time now. We'll have to wait and see if Bex has arrived. I don't think she has. Yeah, we'll have to catch up with Bex's thoughts on MaXXXine and what's it next week.
Sure, no worries. And yeah, sorry, this is such a quick in and out, folks. Yeah, just busy professionally, but there we are. We'll linger a bit more next week.
Yeah, we'll have a good old banger of a time next week. Right?
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you very much, Ian.
Fuck you, Jason Reitman.
I mean, obviously.
And good night.
Good night.